Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I, as always, am still Gerry. I continue to be Gerry. These guys continue to be Max and Terry. Let's go ahead and move on to our Southampton reaction and get it out of the way. So, guys, let's start with some brief opening thoughts. Don't spill out all of your thoughts, because then they're not brief, you know what I mean? So, Terry, let's start with you, because we never start with Max anymore on the first segment. It's just sort of the way we do things now. But don't worry, he'll have plenty of time. Terry, what are your thoughts on this nonsense?
We just beat ourselves somehow. Like the first half, I'd be surprised if Southampton had a shot on goal. I'd be surprised if they'd even touched the ball. We were in complete control of the game. We weren't like absolutely dominating in the sense that we were making lots of chances and all that, but I wouldn't have been surprised if we had 90% possession in the first half, something ludicrous like that. They just were sitting in deep. They weren't really creating anything. They were just hitting hopeful balls to Danny Ings, and just 44th minute, we'd spent the whole half trying to carve an opening, and it kept just not falling right, and it'd land in the box and it'd be just half a yard away from that, or by the time someone would get the ball under control, it'd take that second too long and they'd be all over him and he couldn't get the shot away. And then Morgan Schneiderlin gives Keane a ridiculous pass, puts him under pressure when he doesn't need to. Keane loses the ball to Nathan Redmond. Redmond then just rolls the ball to Ings, and Ings just slots in the goal, simple as you like. I mean, Stecklenberg was pretty poor on it, but it was literally, we might as well have passed it in the goal ourselves. It was that ridiculous, and I couldn't believe at half-time we were 1-0 down in a game we dominated. But in the second half, they came back out, and they were much better. We were the lesser team for much of the second half. We got our act together towards the end as the better players started coming off the bench. I think Nias was the wrong sub. He didn't really do anything to change the game. He did have the assist in the goal, but I just think that was it wasn't really his good work that did it. He just got the ball from pressing. I would have brought Walcott on a lot earlier than we did, and instead Nias. And we beat ourselves. We do it a lot, but this is one of the perfect examples of how Everton make their own problems. And the shootout was the shootout. It's a lottery, and good players make mistakes, and as we saw. But yeah, it wasn't. Southampton were handed that game by Everton. By the way, with some of the needless things we did.
So I'm going to follow up, Terry. All over Twitter, I have not seen. I can probably count on one hand the amount of people who have said we actually played a solid first half. Okay? Everyone has said Southampton had that game at hand, or not everyone, most people, we're always in control. And when I was listening to it, because Max, you and I both had to listen to it, the way that the guys were describing the match, it sounded like we were the stronger team the first half, and we had almost all the opportunities. That's the way it sounded to me. Max, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think obviously if you're listening to the EvertonFC.com coverage, then it's obviously going to have a biased tendency.
A bit.
But I've got to be honest, Gerry, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. It's such a familiar feeling, being knocked out the League Cup, that I can't even build myself to get angry about it, really. I do agree from what I heard, and by all accounts, we were the better team, creating the majority of the chances in the first half. That goal really did seem to come against the run of play and out of nowhere. And as Terry said, we are our own worst enemy at times. Once one thing goes against us, then we just don't seem to be able to brush ourselves down and go again from it. It is really frustrating again to be knocked out the League Cup and not have that opportunity to get rid of that 0, which always winds me up. But what can you do about it? There's no point in getting angry, really, and there's no point in saying Marco Silva's not the man for the job. Calling him a fraud just because he got beat at a shootout, it's a bit of a far-fetched shout for me. Managers need time, okay? I think it's ridiculous how the tide's gone against them. You see in these articles, they're not frequent as such, but you see them pop up on your timeline every now and again. How someone's actually dedicated their time to writing a piece on how Marco Silva's inadequate for the job, and how this cup defeat has angered all the fans. When no, it hasn't, not really. As I said, it's such a familiar feeling. I'm used to not being in the League Cup, which is probably part of the defeatist mentality that I go on about that I hate, but it is what it is.
So I'm going to keep going back and forth here. So Max and I, it sounded like Everton were stronger, despite the probable bias in the commentators. But Terry, the big complaint against Silva has been he started a weaker squad. 7 changes, I believe it was. And Max, I think you and I were actually not far off from picking the team, which is nuts. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Not that I'd rather get them all wrong and us win, but whatever. But the idea of leaving Sigurdsson on the bench, bringing Dowell in, when it's such a key cog, and the idea of leaving Pickford on the bench and actually not even putting him on the bench. I don't know. Do you feel like that team was strong enough to have won that game, even just basing it on the first half performance?
I mean, yeah, it's easily strong enough to win the game. I don't really like the way our managers, Everton managers, have done this with the League Cup, because you rest that amount of players and you rest keepers and stuff. I would prefer if they played the proper team. It's not a lot of games. It's early in the season. There's no fatigue set in yet. Really take it seriously and attack that cup. We're not going to get relegated and we're not going to win the league. So I don't understand. We're not in Europe this season. I don't understand why they do it. But on the other hand, I sort of accept that they do it, because it's a thing of every modern coach does it. You're just wishing for something that's not going to happen. It must be. They've got squads of 25 to sometimes 30 players, and they must promise them you're going to play in these cups and you're going to get game time. So you don't know whether. Now, we as fans might not want to see Martin Stecklenberg start the game, because it's sort of like a signal that we're not taking it seriously. But when he signs a new deal to be Pickford's understudy and saves us the job of buying a new keeper, he might be told in those negotiations, yeah, you're number 2, but when the League Cup and such come around, we'll play you. And that could extend to the other players.
Yeah. Just
quickly, the biggest disappointment from the night, well, second biggest apart from the result, is these players who were on the fringes of the team, the Lookmans, the Dowells, they are the first ones to be taken off. They should be the ones who are absolutely bossing the game. They should be the ones who are the key players in the match, because it's their opportunity to stake a claim, and they're the ones who are doing the least. And then you're having to have Walcott and Richarlison come on and save the day. It's like, we're not at Man City away. We're at home to Southampton. If you want to be like Lookman and Dowell, if you want to be part of this team and be taken seriously and possibly get in the league's match day team, you need to be coming out and running like these teams ragged. You need to stake your claim, and they're not. They're just going out there and just putting in a 6 out of 10 performance at best, and then getting taken off in the second half. They should be the ones who finish in the 90, and the senior players who've been playing in the league, they should be coming off.
Mm-hmm. And that's what one would think. I don't know. I still maintain Gay starts that game. Sigurdsson starts that game. Pickford starts that game. Those are they've become hugely important cogs for us, and we don't really have a whole lot of replacement for them. As far as Gay, I've gotten to the point where I just don't know that Schneiderlin can fill that role in terms of speed. I don't feel like he's got. I really wish Beningame was healthy, because I would love to see him run that role for a little while, just to be given a chance. If you're going to do that, let's replace I don't know. The big complaint has been Schneiderlin and Gay do the same job, just in different ways. So one would think it's a like for like thing in a weird, but I don't know, guys. I didn't, when I saw the lineup, the only thing that really made me furrow my brow was Dowell starting, because I thought that Sigurdsson being as hot as he was right now, I was worried about it. I would love to have seen Dowell come in, give him some experience because I like the guy. But was he very effective in the game?
He was anonymous, really. He wasn't like a bad, I would say. He didn't do much wrong, but he just didn't do much in general. And it rubs salt in the wounds a little bit. It's not the Dowell's fault, but whilst he was having a sort of non-event of a game, Nikola Vlasic is scoring against Real Madrid.
I know.
So makes you think. I mean, I know there's more to that stuff than that, but no, Zal didn't really do much. He was just sort of on the periphery of the game. He was like the wall pass for Bernard quite a lot. He'd just sort of be in the right position for Bernard to give a little 1-2 with, and that's about as much as he did. Bernard, just on that point, had a really good game, but he was one of the few.
Max, I know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
A really good first half, I must correct. He did phase out later in the game as he got moved position, but in the first half it was all Bernard, and he was unlucky not to get any reward for it.
So Max, I know you had to listen to it like I did, but just because it's a talking point right now, if Pickford starts that game. All right? Because we saw that goal that they got, that Ings got, which was not a great goal.
No.
All right? If Pickford starts that game, do you think Pickford saves that? I realize we're having to play like Mystic Max over here, but just you said you would put Pickford as a starter in this.
Yeah.
I said Steck because that's what I thought Silva would do, but I got to be honest, that was weak. That was really weak.
Yeah, before I go on to that, some fantastic points made by Terry there about the squad rotation, and I think squad rotation and the keeper rotation. I think it ties in that it's luck of the draw, isn't it? Obviously, we've come up against Premier League opposition, but as Terry said, obviously in some contract negotiations, you may have third round of the League Cup. You'll get a game if you're on the peripheries of the squad or the first team. Sorry. But I do agree. I tweeted at the time. I did think that Pickford would have been able to get down quicker than what Stecklenberg did to save that effort for Mings. But yeah, it was frustrating, wasn't it? Because even when I saw the lineup, I thought, right, okay, there are 7 changes, a lot of rotation from a winning team, and I'm part of that crew that says you don't really need to rock the boat if it's a winning team. Keep it a winning team. I don't like Dowell and Davies in the same midfield. I don't think they offer defensive cover as well as, say, Sigurdsson would with the ground that he covers. I can't complain too much about the attack, really. I wanted to see Bernard start. I wanted to see Tosin keep this run of form going, which he apparently seemed to not do. He seemed to have quite a poor game by all accounts. And, obviously, if we're listening to the same coverage, Gerry, I'm sure you heard as well that from what we heard that Lookman was one of the brighter sparks.
Sounded like it
throughout the game. So, yeah, as I say, coming up against a Premier League opposition in a game where 7 times out of 10 you do get. I mean, I'm not excusing the Everton team. By the way, I do feel like by all means we should be beating Southampton anyway. I thought we should have steamrolled them and kept this run of wins going really after the 3-0 against Fulham in the league. But yeah, it's frustrating. I don't want to end up going off on one about it because, as I said, I am used to just being out the League Cup, but we should have done a lot more.
Terry, you were there, so you saw it more than I did in the highlights, but it sounded like Southampton was doing a lot of time wasting and playing overly physical, a lot of fouls. Sounds like maybe they should have been punished a little bit more for those fouls. And that seems to me like this is a recurring theme with Everton this season. Teams wanting to just come in physical at us and wanting to hold on. They want to disrupt our play. They want to frustrate us. I learned a new term by following Everton and going to all these forums and message boards and Twitter. Shithousing. Okay? That right there, I hate it. I hate watching it. I hate listening to it. It sucks, and it's a tactic, but you know something? It works sometimes for these teams. All right? How do we cope with the shithousing? Because it seems like good squads know how to deal with that.
First of all, I haven't got a problem with that. If we went to play away in the cup at a team who were better than us, playing as a footballing team, then I would, and we came away with a win on penalties by acting like that, I'd be totally fine with it. How you deal with it as the better team, you just take your chances. If you try and do that to let's say Chelsea, like historically, you'd say Chelsea. You went away to Chelsea and tried to do that, they'd just score. They just keep making chances and score 2 or 3 of them, and then that's all the time wasted in the world's not going to help you there. It only works, all the little tricks, if you stop the other team scoring, which they did. So if at some point we started with a full strength team and they were doing that, but Richarlison picks up the ball, goes past his man, and then just bends a goal into the top corner, then all the time wasted in the world's out the window. The only way it's effective for the opposition team is if you haven't scored, or you've let them score, which is exactly what happened. You need to take your chances. You need to be more clinical, because then they've got to attack you. Then they've got to change their gears, and we just couldn't do it. It just wouldn't fall for us. All the chances were just fraction too far away from the attacker's foot, or it just the 50-50 just went the wrong way, or like we had a bad ricochet. It was really frustrating night.
Yeah, I want to clarify. I agree. We go to some big squad and we get points. I'm fine with it if it happens. And Southampton supporters should be very satisfied that they walked away still alive in the cup. They should be. I just hate watching it. It's really frustrating. It's got to be frustrating with the players when all you're trying to do is connect and actually get some momentum going, and your guys are falling down. Every so you got Yoshida supposedly hacking people down left and right. It's got to get a little frustrating as a player when you're sitting there thinking, well, how many fouls has that guy had? He should have a card by now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It really worked on Tosin. He was getting really agitated by them, and he was arguing with the referee a lot because it wasn't falling for him, and he was getting fouled a lot. And then the player who was about to play him in would be getting fouled. He had a lot of arguments with the referee over it, just consistent and persistent fouling.
So I have one last thought, and it's kind of a positive, okay? And bear with me for telling a personal story, but I was listening to this at home, headphones on, and then I took the headphones off because my son wanted to listen to it. So then I had to take him to training, and I hook it up to my car, and I'm listening to the feed in my car with both my boys in the car in the back seat. And when Walcott scored, I'm usually not the most satisfied with that radio coverage all the time, but the pure joy from those guys that came through my speakers, and my boys we just blew up in the car. And that moment alone was so good, guys. Yeah. It was such a good moment. And I felt so wonderful. Only to have it ripped from my chest 20 minutes later. But still, it was such a good moment, man. And it's one of those things where the cup can provide that kind of stuff. It's just a shame we're not still going in it, And it's one of those things where I'll defend listening to a game every once in a while now because of that right there. Because those guys, you could tell what it meant to them. You could feel it with them. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Sorry for the sappy stuff here, guys.
Darren Griffiths and Ian Snowden, wasn't it? Snods, they are absolutely fantastic when they do the coverage. They were really good during pre-season too, particularly reading out all the tweets. But credit to them. But as you say, Gerry, moments like that in cup competitions, they do provide real joy, and it's proper heartache when it gets snatched from you like that.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed for the FA Cup, as we say every bloody year, it seems.
Yeah. I was in the car and was about to let Bennett out for his practice, and I said, "Hey man, you all right?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm just sad we're out of the cup."
Oh my.
I was like, well, I'm sorry, man. I am too, but focus on on your training right now. Focus on practice. Be mindful of where you are. Yeah, I'm passing on the heartache. All right, guys. I guess that's it for our Southampton reaction. Yeah, we're disappointed. We move on, though, just like the squad does. We're going to be moving on to our Leicester preview next, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if you're digging the videos, please subscribe. We're right on 1210 on the subs right now, so slowly continuing to crawl. Thank you for that. Yeah, if you want more Terry, who doesn't, check his Twitter feed. He'll be showing you when he's on the Liverpool Echo fan jury. Okay? Also, Max shows up on, well, just everyone's podcast these days. He just pollinates. That's his thing. So check his Twitter feed. You can find out where he is. He also writes analysis, specifically Everton analysis. You can find that on the Toffee Blues website, sometimes some other places. So check that out as well. Guys, let's go do a Leicester preview in hopes of a better future. So, bye.